Welcome to the Shutter Saga Podcast. I'm your host, Marvin Blue. Join me each week as we dive into amazing conversations with some of our industry's top leaders. We will talk about photography, business, and most of all, share the stories that have laid the foundation to our journey in this world we call photography. A couple of ways to support the show is to like, subscribe, and share the show with others. Leave those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and if you're a fan of seeing us live, we are on YouTube. Also, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Again, thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Shutter Saga Podcast. I'm your host, Marvin Blue. My guest this week is a world-renowned photographer, a world traveler, a great friend, great husband, and probably one of the best lighting artists in the world. Yes, I said it. I've got the amazing Clay Souza on the line today. We got Clay coming in to us from North Carolina by way of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. One of my favorite places in the world. But Clay, man, thank you for being here, man. Welcome to the show.
My pleasure, man. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And thank you for that great introduction, by the way.
It could have been better, but I'm working on the introductions. But man, Clay, tell us all about me. Like we met. What year was it when we met? It's been almost 10 years now since we met.
I think it was 2000 and what? Shutter Fest?
2017, 2018, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that. I don't think it was my first year. Probably my first year was 2016, and then I was to 17 or 18. Yeah, we date ourselves here, Marvin.
Yes, we're just telling everybody how old we were. But man, it was just, you were one of those guys. Like when I say a lighting artist is exactly what I mean. I've always touted you and Brandon as two of the best lighting photographers I've ever seen. That isn't mainstream, so to speak. But like what I've seen you do with one light, one speed light, 180, 200, just anything, it's been mind blowing, and you make it look effortlessly.
Thank you. It's I don't think light needs to be complicated. I think people overcomplicate stuff, right? As a wedding photographer, we don't have a whole lot of time on every single wedding to shoot. Sometimes you have 10 minutes with the bride and groom, sometimes 15. When you get half an hour, 45 minutes, it's a blessing, right? So we need to move fast. And I'm one light type of guy. So you mentioned Brandon. I look at Brandon image and go like, oh my God, look at this lighting, right? I wish I could do lighting like that. Because Brandon, he's really, really good at lighting. Especially his studio works really good. But I shoot a lot of weddings outdoors. So I'm always moving equipment here and there. And I try to go as fast as I can. I try to make it as simple, as painless to the bride and groom as I can make it, because it's a long day for them. And for us, one light, 99% of the time is enough to create what we do. So, yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about the journey. What got Clay to the dance itself? Because you had a obviously unique journey. Your accent's a dead giveaway, but you're not originally from the U.S., you're from Brazil.
Right.
So let's talk about your journey, I guess, bringing you to the States, and then what got you into photography.
All right. So I've been in the States, oh gosh, this year is going to be like 26 years, I guess, here. Mm-hmm. I still have that strong accent that doesn't go away. At this point now, I gave up on it. So So I came here. I used to be, I have a degree in physical education from Brazil. So I used to be a fitness instructor. I used to own fitness center in Brazil. And I just got tired of everything, backed up and came back here, came to the US and got a degree in computer science. And that's my thing. So I'm a computer guy, and at the time I was in upstate New York. And as soon as I left college, I got a job offer from Cornell University. I applied for a job and got a job offer at Cornell University. So I was there for about 9 other years, and then couldn't stand the weather anymore. I came to North Carolina. Photography came into my life by, I think like everybody, by accident. I'm a huge fan of motorcycle racing, like addicted to motorcycle racing. I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning to watch practice if I have to. And I was going to Indianapolis one year to watch the MotoGP, which is the biggest motorcycle race in the world. And I was talking to a friend, and she said, "Well, take some pictures, and I want to see those pictures." And I said, "I don't even own a camera." she said, okay, walked in and came back out with a Canon T2i at the point. It's a semi-professional camera. And I look at this thing and said, take it. I was like, I don't even know how to use this thing. She put it in a manual and said, you all set. Long story short, the weekend I came back with 4,000 images. Right? A lot of them were like crap, but I had such a great time that so I returned her camera and went to Best Buy and bought a camera just like that one. That's how it all started, and then we started the same route. I think a lot of people start right shooting sunrise, sunsets, birds, right? But I have this passion for knowledge. I have this passion for learning stuff, figuring things out, and I remember spending long hours watching videos and try to understand what you shoot manual mode and understanding how the camera works and how lighting works, the exposure triangle, all that stuff. Um, and I was doing that for a while. I was shooting some models for a while, just as a hobby. And then I was kind of liking what I was getting. I knew I wasn't ready to go yet, but I mean, I was getting better. And then I did Jerry Guillaume's came to town. I was doing like a United States tour. Jerry Guillaume is a very famous, uh,
Oh
uh,
yeah, no, I know the name, and you're throwing a good name at it out there. I think we
yeah.
all at some point took a Jerry class.
And he came to town and he worked with his wife, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, seeing that dynamic that I thought was so fascinating, and I left that workshop so inspired that I decided, you know what, I'm gonna to start doing this more professionally. You got to keep learning, and then I dove into the business of photography before I opened my business. Before I start charging people, trying to understand model price, pricing, modeling, and that type of stuff. And then I posed this question to my wife, and I told her, "Listen, I'm doing this photography stuff." She said, "Yeah, yeah, you've been having fun with this." And I told her, "I think I want to go more professional, start charging for our work." But I'm not gonna do that without you by my side because it may work or not. Number one, I think it's gonna work, and I think we're gonna be very busy. So, and she jumped on board, and that's it. And then we start photographing around here, North Carolina. We probably photograph every single Brazilian that we have here in North Carolina, right? In this area, because that's why we got to know. People knew us, and then I said we need to step out of this market, get into more the American market, get into weddings. And she was like, "You crazy weddings?" I said, "No, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be amazing." And that's it. So we've been 90 years in business now. This year's our ninth year in business. So
Congratulations on that, man. That's awesome,
thank
and
you.
that's awesome that you get to share it with your wife. I mean, my wife has been behind the scenes since day
Yeah,
one, but she has been an amazing support because I always tell people I could not do what I do if I did not have her at home happy.
yes,
Because everything that I do means nothing if she's miserable with having to sacrifice me being away for the weekends and things like that. That's why when I do come home, it's all about her and the kids every chance I get because
yeah,
how demanding the wedding seasons can be.
yeah. A few years back, I taught a class on business at Shutter Fast, right?
Hmm.
And the first thing I said, we're talking about how to be successful. Uh, the name of the class is like how to be successful as a part-time photographer. And I need to stop here and
Hey
the
Clay,
title of that class was
let me get you to repeat that last part because you kind of your audio came in choppy.
okay. So the class was titled "How to Be Successful as a Part-Time Photographer,"
Okay.
right? And I need to pause here because the part-time photographer part of that title was just to attract people because I hate the idea of thinking that I'm a part-time photographer because I have another job. What we have here is two full-time jobs. Put 15, 16 hours every day, Sunday to Sunday, no matter. Easier for us because we don't have kids. So, but my wife is I tell her she is every. I just show up and shoot, right? I'm the visionary. I'm the type of guy who this is the direction you're gonna go. This is what we need to buy. This is This is I maintain the technology, I maintain our social media, I shoot, I'm the primary shoot on a wedding, she's my second shooter, but she does the editing, she does client communication, she takes care of the calendar. It's that background work that nobody sees, and she is amazing at it, right? uh, she talks to everybody. We're gearing up to go to Shutter Fest now. She's setting up shoots, she's talking to everybody, she's contacting me. I don't do anything. I'm pretty much keep doing my thing, and she takes all those tasks, and she's really good at it. So in this class that I was teaching, how to be successful as a part-time photographer, the first thing in my opening class said, you want to be successful, you need a wife like mine, because
Yep.
it is having that person by your side who you can trust, who you know is going to get things done, right? I mean, it's peace of mind. It's peace of mind. It
Oh
really
yeah, absolutely.
amazing, amazing. I'm very lucky, very fortunate to have her.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, we need to just kick you off the show and let's talk to Danny because she's the real star, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I've been trying to get her to teach with me a Shutter Fest. She's like, no, no, that's you. You like the spotlight. I don't. But when I'm teaching, and when I'm teaching that I have a lecture, I mean, she's by side, and she keeps like, jumping in the middle. I'm talking about, and she's not. I'm like, come here with me. She said, no, 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 you teach. I'm gonna be here. But I sometimes in the middle of my sentence, she's like, no, no, this is that way, not that way. I'm like, oh, okay. So
Yeah,
this,
Danny may act like she doesn't want to teach, but I've seen her at photo walks and she's teaching and doesn't even realize she does it because she'll start making adjustments. Just say, "Yeah, you want to do this," and then everyone's like, "Well, I thought Clayton's like, dude, trust me, she probably knows just as much as he does." Like I'm quick to say that. That first time I saw her at that photo walk, I said, "Dude, I was on her hip. I was like, I'm gonna listen to what she has to say because she's been around you 99% of the time. So anything that you know, she knows because she's seen it." And I was
yes,
like, so if you're smart, go to the next person. Like Clay's gonna have 15 people following him asking questions, and Danny's only got two people. Danny knows all the answers already. So I was like,
yeah,
yeah,
she knows,
absolutely. And
yeah,
then she's just the awesome people. She's just an awesome person to be around. So yeah, I get
she
it.
she's a lot of fun, and I think she doesn't like the official title of
Mm.
presenter or instructor, whatever you want to call it, but she has that on her. Yeah,
Yeah,
she'll get that. At some point you're gonna see a banner with both our faces at Sugar Fest.
you might as well. I mean, she's a wealth of knowledge. So you
Oh,
absolutely, why
and,
wouldn't you?
yeah,
But yeah, so let's talk about. I want to transition. In using the word transition, when was it when you had your like aha moment with photography itself? Because I know you started out like every one of us. We grabbed a camera, we fell in love with it. We got we became obsessed or addicted or whatever word you want to use. When was it that when you started? It started to click and make sense to you, and then you took it from that the hobby to the I want to make money with this and create a career from it.
yeah. Well, I think to me it's like is seeing the progress of my photography, right? How better I was getting, right? And also understanding how much more I needed to learn, because coming from shooting motorcycle races and birds, sunset and sunrise, not dealing with people, not dealing with flash, not having to communicate, not having to give instruction, not have to pose, right? And I have a chance one time so I met this guy at some point. He shot like models for a magazine, and one day he called me. He said, "What you doing this weekend?" I said, "Nothing." And he's like, "You want to come to the studio? I have a bunch of models here. I need to shoot. Come over and help." I said, "No, I don't want to shoot people, right?" And he's like, "No, no, I'll help you out." To me, it's like if you call me to do something, I may say no. If you tell me I'm going to teach you this, I'm going to go because I want to learn. So he said, "No, I'll teach you a bunch of stuff." I said, "Okay." So I went over there and had a blast. It's like, you know, watching and helping, but I also understood how much I didn't know yet,
Mhm.
right? And then was like back to the drawing board and let's start studying again, lighting, posing, directing, all this type of stuff, right? The aha moment to me was when I was doing a photo shoot, and I had watched Sal, I guess, on a Creative Live, or was like after my first Shutter Fest. I don't remember completely. Uh, and I had all of this theory in my head here, which was like I was supposed to be shooting very different from the way I was shooting before. And things didn't make sense at that point, but I said, no, I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to keep moving. And I took this picture of this model. I remember exactly how it was. The sky was blue. We had like a brick wall where I took that picture. When I looked behind the camera, I said, holy crap, look at this. This is the type of photography that I want to do. And from there, I perfect a little bit more the technique, and that was it. That was exactly when I was hooked because I was able to create what I had envisioned. Up to that point, I was like, yeah, it's nice, but it's very different. I mean, and as a photographer, you know this. You know when you nail that shot, say, this is what I want. And from that point, that's when my style got built in. It looked like, okay, this is a style I want to shoot. Nothing wrong with different styles of shooting, but this is a style that I want. I want to be bold. I want to be dramatic, especially because a lot of people here at the time were doing light and airy, right? So I didn't know if there was a market for that more bold, more colorful style, but that's exactly when things clicked to me for me and saying like, okay, this is what I want to do. We're gonna go into business and we're gonna be different from everybody, and you're gonna make money. We're gonna be successful, right? Because I don't measure success on the amount of money that you make. I really don't. But I also don't have no desire to be a starving artist, right?
Absolutely.
Uh, so to me, it was like success to me is we finish a shoot, a wedding, family, whatever it is, and you're proud of the image that you created. You know your clients are going to like it, and you're proud. You deliver what you promised. This is success to me. If you're making money or not, well, people measure success in different ways. Uh, that I knew if I kept going on that path, was going to be different. It was going to have some pushback from the market because it's different from what everybody's doing. But I was willing to try. I was willing to fail. And I was willing to see what happened, and everything else is history. Here we are, 9 years later, and still kicking and screaming and having fun.
So what's been so we talked about you mentioned your passion and everything and just measuring your success through the work that you're doing. What drives you to push for those high levels, or what, whether it was in the beginning, even now, how have you been able to sustain that drive is the real question, I guess.
To me, it's knowing that I'm getting better, right? I think I think what happens today is we keep paying for education, we keep buying course online, going to workshops, doing this and doing that, but we never ask that question: Am I getting better? I have this need to me, with me, and whoever works with me, to hold people accountable for the progress. I hold myself accountable for the progress. I put a lot of pressure on me to improve. There's one example. There's one venue here that we shoot a lot there. We there, I mean, week in and week out. And to me, it's like every time I go there, there's this tendency of going back to the spots that you like, the spots that you know are going to work. I'm always looking at different spots. I'm always trying to come up with something different. Uh, when I shoot on a venue where I never shot before, a lot of times the planner comes and say, "Oh, every photographer does the first look here, does this and that." I mark that spot says like I'm not gonna go here because that's where everybody goes, right? I want to go somewhere else. So what keeps driving me is this need of getting better, this need of growing my art, of being bigger, of being better every time, right? So the wedding, when we come back from a wedding and we, for some reason or lack of time, whatever it is, we didn't do anything different. I measured that. I'm not going to say I measured that as a failure, but it's a missed opportunity for growth, a missed opportunity to get better because we, for some reason, something happened. We went back to our comfort zone and shot the same thing that we shoot for other people, which is beautiful also. But to me, it's like I didn't grow on that wedding. It was a missed opportunity. This is what keeps the drive going. This is what keeps us going. Yeah.
I love it, man. Especially like, I mean, because it's easy, like, especially when you've done it for as long as you have, and the amount of what you've done to fight the complacency, where as I call the term I use is phoning it in, where you don't even try, but it still comes out good because you know what good enough is,
Yes.
and how are you pushing yourself past that rut of, okay, well, I know what I did today was good enough. I'm going to make money. They're going to be happy. Okay, but you walk away unfulfilled, and being able to tap into that internally and say, you know what, I'm not going to phone it in. I'm going to drive for something better and stronger, or whatever. When because I'm a big believer of comparisons, the thief of joy. How do you offset that drive without necessarily comparing yourself to others? I mean, because like I said, when I herald you as one of the best lighting photographers that I know, and there is comparisons to your Brandons, to your Michaels, to a lot of people that are great with lighting, that are known for using lighting, so to speak. There, we know that there's a big section of photographers that don't want to touch lighting because
Yeah.
they stick to the lighting area, they play that game, and they do it well, and that's great. But we always say you can tell how good a photographer is when you start throwing in lighting scenarios, and then you see who steps up, and then you see who steps to the side. So, um, trying to get better without comparing yourself, how have you been able to navigate those waters?
I actually don't look at other people's work. I hardly ever look
Okay.
at somebody's work. I'm not interested. I mean, my competition here. I know my competition because we bump into each other in bridal shows, that type of stuff.
Hmm.
I don't go to their websites. I don't keep looking at what they're doing. I don't care. I really don't. I sometimes like one or two pictures like pop up. I'm like, this is kind of cool. So, but I'm not the type of guy who measuring myself against other people. I measure myself against how I was last year, how much I have improved this year. If I go to this conference, what I'm gonna learn, right? That's how I measure it. I mean, other than that, I don't. It's funny story here. It's like there is one guy who we compete on the same all inclusive venue, and I never knew who he was ever. I saw him at Shutter. He saw me at Shutter Fest. Came back, introduced, shook my hand, and I'm thinking, and I'm talking to him, thinking, who the hell is this, right? And so he goes away. So we talk a little bit, blah 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 blah. My North Carolina, and he goes away. 2 weekends later, I go to a venue to an interview with a client, and he was there. And I look because I'm really like I have a lot of stuff in my head. I'm like, that dude looks familiar. And then he said, "That's so and so." And I said, "Who is that?" "Oh, from that company." I said, "Okay, who is that?" I said, "He is our biggest competitor here in this venue." "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah, that's who he is." So this is the amount of attention that I pay to other people. I really don't. Today we're good friends and we laugh about it and stuff, but I don't. I just don't.
That's awesome. I mean, and I'll be completely honest. Like, I still struggle with not comparing myself, just because it's just that natural competitiveness in me.
Yeah,
I still, again, but I look at people's work. What I used to do was I used to look at it and then come down on myself about not being able to achieve that.
yeah,
Now I look at the work and I get inspired and I get driven by it, because I love being able to witness greatness, whether in all forms, especially artistic greatness. Like, when I see someone putting out their best work, that inspires me, because they're hitting that level of
yes.
that they're hitting that level that I'm chasing, where you're hitting your personal greatness. You're doing some of your best work and everything. To backtrack on improving, what have you used to measure yourself in regards to when you say, am I getting better? Well, what is your measuring stick to determine if you're growing or getting better?
So look at old portfolio. Look at pictures 2 years ago, from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Usually the same locations. Go back to the same location. Look what you created 3 years ago, and look what you're creating now. If you're creating the same type of thing, there's a problem there. You spent 2 3 years, you didn't grow, right? Also, as a full service studio, I mean, we can say that we don't care about money and stuff, but we're still running a business. We need to make money. So look at your bottom line. Look how much money you're making. Like look how much better. I mean, there's so many measures that you can make. I think with what problems photography today is like everybody is trying to beat everybody, right? Everybody's trying to be bigger or better, and I try to beat myself, right? I'm working on my website. I This past 4 months, I've been working on SEO on my website, right? And I measure like every month. I go there and measure for the keywords that I'm ranking, right? So I start like I have three keywords that I rank, three key phrases that I rank, and I'm looking about 4 months ago, I was popping up on number 56 on Google. I did a last month in the measure. I'm popping up in the same keywords at number 18, right? So that's success right there. Am I on
Okay.
page one? No, I'm now on page two. So that's a measure of success because running a photography business is way, way, way more than just photographing. There's so many measures that we have to take, so many things that we have to take to be successful. Now, if you're going to focus on photography on itself, on only photos, it is the best way to measure your progress. Go back to your pictures 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and see what you're creating now compared to what you created 3 years ago. But one thing that I learned how to do, because at some point I almost gave up photography. I wasn't getting it. I mean, I was like, no, no, no. And I said, let me have a honest look at my photography because you know this as a photographer, we get attached to what we create.
Hmm.
I think I don't have kids, but I think the feeling is like having an ugly kid. You know your kid is ugly. You can say your kid is ugly. Nobody else can say your kid is ugly, right?
Very true. Very true.
So it's like you know you can get better, but nobody can criticize your photos. So what happened to me is like at some point I said, I need to get better. I don't know what I'm missing, what the points I'm missing. I made a point of looking at one of my images as if it was somebody else's images. So no emotional attachment to that image at all. Then I start seeing flaws. I saw that my light wasn't the best one. My posing wasn't the best one. And my composition wasn't the best one. Those are the three points that I spotted on that image that I knew I could get better. And then I said, well, before I quit, let me focus on. And I spent a whole year, probably like 8 months, more 8 to 9 months, working on lighting, working on composition, working on posing. But how you work, how you do this? Focus, right? So I would leave for a shoot, and I would think, first deal that I made with me is like I'm gonna shoot. It was in the middle of the year, was about probably May, June, middle of the year. I said I'm gonna shoot every weekend till the end of the year. If I have a client, I shoot a client. If I don't have a client, I shoot a model. And I did that every weekend. I shot that day. But every time I would go with a model, sometimes I had a client on Saturday, and a model on Sunday. Every time I would go out with a model, I had one goal, one single goal. Today I'm going to work on my lighting, and I would work on that lighting. Right. My goal was to have one image, one single image from the whole shoot that I could look at it and say, "This is a beautiful lighting." Pose still sucks. Composition can get better, but this is beautiful lighting. That was my goal. And if I didn't accomplish on that weekend, I would come back next week and I would nail it until I got it. And I did that with lighting, with composition, and posing. Once I did that, everything changed. Everything changed. Everything became easier. Clients started coming up much, much more often. So success started popping up. I mean, we started getting busier and busier, and that's it. That's it. But it was hard work. It took a lot of energy and focus from me to look at my photos and say, man, this sucks. I can do better than that. Yeah,
I love it. I think the fact that you were willing and vulnerable enough to have that honest conversation with yourself, um, even before you like had that epiphany of like I might walk away from this, but even as you continue to grow, you're having these honest conversations. I think that those conversations internally, we all lack having that. I've had to have that come to Jesus moment with myself. Like, did my work get stagnant? Now we've had that conversation where I felt like my work got stagnant, my work wasn't being creative anymore. I wasn't pushing myself anymore. I was just kind of taking the easy layups and not trying to get, push myself to get better and just phoning it in. But I did have a friend ask a question because I told her I was going to be having this conversation with you. So that we did get a fan question in prior to everything.
good.
They want to know if if I want to get better, how can I get better at lighting at the most cost effective way possible? Because obviously everyone sees lighting. They see the strobes out there. They see the Pro Photos, the Westcotts, all these different brands. What is your tips for anyone trying to improve their lighting when they're first starting out in regards to like, I guess, budget? What would be your approach if someone came to you new and say, hey, Clay, look, I want to get better at my lighting. Don't really have much to work with. How can I get started without killing my pockets right away?
Okay, one speed light. Lighting, you start always one light, one speed light. That's going to be your study light. Speed lights are not that expensive. Don't need to buy anything fancy. That a speed light that you can trigger remotely, right? Instead of on the top of the camera, speed light sits on a light stand. You have a trigger on the camera, fires the speed light, fires and controls. And exercise, right? There's the orange exercise, which is very, very, very helpful. Put an orange on the table and start moving the light around it, right? Take a shot and start moving the light around it and behind it, right? So what you're looking there, you kind of try to figure out the position of the light and where the shadow is going to cast. Where it's going to cast the shadow. What effect that little movement, move it close, move it far. Try to understand light fall off because the further the light is from the subject, the more power you have, the more the light will travel. One question that I ask all the time, get asked all the time, I get how I get rid of shadows on the background, right? It's because there's too much light here, so the light's traveling all the way to the background. So do the exercise, and I'm gonna be 100% honest. It sucks, but that's how. If you want to get really good, because there's a get good and get really good. You have to understand the light, understand light properties, and when you move, it doesn't take much to move a light to get a totally different result, right? I would start with one speed light there. Start there. You can do an orange exercise, or you can buy like a mannequin head or something like that, right? I always thought that was super creepy, the mannequin head. I never done that. But I have my wife as a model, so or if you have somebody in your life who can model for you, that's a good thing to do. And start moving the light around. One speed light's enough. You don't need to come up with anything very fancy or expensive. Start moving the light around. Because as you move the light, try to understand what's happening. Really look at the results. And start one thing that I should do this exercise. One thing that I do a lot, I go to restaurants, dinner, right? I'm sitting on my table. I'm looking at how the light hitting other people. Oh, there's a shadow here. Well, why is the guy there a shadow? Where's the light source? Right? Start looking at the light source of locations where you are and seeing how the light affects people, shadows. Because if you don't understand that, you're never really going to understand how to fix a issue that you may have on a lighting. Because today we see a lot of people. I mean, we see this everywhere. Get a model subject, pose the subject, get the light, turn the light on, boom. We didn't measure a damn thing. We didn't think about anything. We just put the person there, turn the light on, and shoot. No, you need to understand what do you want? What the final result that you're looking for? And which steps do I need to get? Do I need to do to get that result? right? And then what happens? That light here didn't work. Start moving over there, boom. Move over here, boom. Move over there, boom. It's like, think about this. You bring your computer for somebody to fix, and they start clicking, 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 clicking. They trying to figure out. If you start moving the light way too much, so that's because there's some disconnection there that you still don't know. And it will take time. It will take time. I remember in the beginning of photo shoots, my wife would come to me and say, "Can we do this faster?" And I'll tell her, "We're getting there. We're getting there." Because it would take like 10 shots to nail the light, right? Today, we walk in pretty much like anywhere. We walk in, 1 or 2 shots, I nail the light. But because practice, I didn't give up. And I did this exercise. Start practicing, like practicing, shooting, shoot. The more you shoot with the light, the more you play with the flashes and stuff. One flash, the more you play with the flash, the easier it's going to get. The beginning is going to be hard, but keep pushing. Keep pushing. It's not going to happen from night to day, but keep pushing and try to understand what the light is doing as you move it around. I think that's the best advice I can give. But thanks for the
I
question.
love it. That was spot on. It really, I was like, even just hearing you answer that, made me think. I haven't done the orange test, God, in years since I first like grabbed it. It almost like, oh, let's go back to my roots, like what you do to get better. Now we've talked so much about lighting and everything, but like I love, you put so much emphasis on lighting, and I always say like, it's for you. It's always been, correct me if I'm wrong, lighting, composition, posing. It's
Yes.
kind of how you always taught it.
Yeah.
So when you're creating this vision that you have for our, what you've come now to become known for with your iconic images that you have, what is the creative process behind it? I mean, you obviously put a lot of the emphasis on lighting. So when we talk about composition and posing, how do you incorporate that in to bring up those other three elements?
I always think like composition is problem solving, right? You're solving a problem. And the problem, and even the location that I shoot is related to the problem that I have. And I'm going to explain this. Let's say I have a big family, a big group, 20 people. I'm trying to find a location where I have steps I can layer people, right?
Mhm.
This would be the ideal scenario. So I don't think people put enough emphasis on how can I get variety. Here in North Carolina, we have a lot of parks. Certain times of the year, parks have no leaves at all. Everything's dry. In a lot of parks, all they have is green. If you get a family for a 2 hour session and all you have is green, how are you going to give them variety? And this is the type of thing that we have to educate our clients. Our clients don't think about this. For instance, we get a lot of times, so a few times we get like, oh, there's this park really close to my house. I think it's really cute. I don't shoot if I don't go there and see it. Because at the end of the day, they are on my website seeing these amazing images full of colors. But what I have to work is a bunch of greenery, and that's pretty much it. They're not going to get that full experience that they're hoping for, right? So this is the conversation that you have to control. Now, it's about problem solving. Composition, once you understand the exposure triangle, once you understand background, midground, and foreground, right? Wide aperture, depth of field. Once you understand that, you can do some really, really cool stuff. Like every time I'm shooting, I'm always shooting, looking for something to shoot through. Flowers. I mean, I'm known to grab like, there's nothing here, to grab like a few branches here and there, some white flower, yellow flower, and put in front of the lens and shoot that. But that creates that 3D feeling. If you have the background out of focus, you have your subject in focus, you have the foreground out of focus, right? Wedding days, I'm always looking for something to shoot through, to create something different. Wedding days, I bring stuff with me, because depending on some venues, you don't have stuff when I'm doing like ring shots, that type of stuff. It's just something that some people actually tell me that my ring shots are amazing. But a lot of this, like, is me bringing stuff because the venue doesn't have anything that's interesting to me at that point. It's being prepared. It's having that vision. This is what I'm going to create. I think one thing that happened to me at some point, and I think happened to a lot of people, it takes time, is the ability to see the picture ready before you take the picture.
Mm.
You walk into a scene and you look at, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Once you build that ability, you'll know where you're going to put the light, you'll know how you're going to pose, you'll know how to dial a camera. It's like,
Nice, yeah.
you're done. But you need to be able to see the image ready before you take it. So
We
that
talk about when talking about when you were talking about shoot through, what's been one of your favorite things to use to shoot through? Because I have the little pixie lights. I love using those all the time. I'll do it with just a couple kissing. I'll throw the lights in front of the thing, give it a little bit of element of the speckle lights. So yeah, what's been some of your favorite shoot through items that you might carry or known to carry?
Like I said, we have a lot of parks here. I shoot a lot through weeds, right?
Okay.
Grass and stuff. Like tall grass, you give me tall grass, I'm gonna be right there in the trench, just like laying down and shooting because I like that. I also like shooting low to the ground. I think that happened, and Brandon is a big that's Brandon's fault because he made me buy. We were in Iceland. Brandon and I were in Iceland to Sal, right? And Brandon had the 85 1.2, and I made the mistake and say, "Can I borrow the lens for a little bit?" And I borrowed the lens, and I saw what the picture come out. I said, "Oh God, Brandon, you made me spend money." I just came back home and bought the lens. Cause that lens is amazing. Up to that point, the 7200 was the lens that I used the most. Today's the 85, right? The lens, when you go down the floor, shoot vertical up. I mean, it's amazing the bokeh that it creates, right? You can use those elements. That you don't have to have stuff in front of the camera, but it's important to know what's possible, what the possibilities are. Because, for instance, we had a wedding in Pennsylvania, which was just around when COVID kicked in. They literally closed the state. The bride called me 2 days before the wedding, crying, saying, "Are you guys going to come to my wedding?" And I said, "Yes." "What's the problem?" He said, "Every single vendor dropped us." I mean, she cried, said, because of COVID. So the venue couldn't host the wedding. The caterer didn't host the wedding. I mean, she was getting married in a church. But, if you whatever you believe, there's a higher power. On the wedding day, her parents were building a house. On the wedding day, the keys to the house got delivered to her parents. So that's why they did the reception. But it was what? Nothing. There was nothing in the house. White walls, nothing, literally nothing. Right? I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do here? Right? They're doing the first dance. I'm like, Jesus. So I'm picking things that the decorations that they brought from the church, put in front of the lens to create some interesting elements. Right? Into that. I get like a prism or something and put in front of the lens. I get this sign and shot through the sign and stuff. So they had a fireplace. I put a flash. It's a little trick. A flash with an orange gel inside the fireplace. You take the photo, looks like the fireplace is lit. Right? So those things, this is what makes you different. I mean, she look at those images like, oh my God, look at this. I didn't was expecting anything. So white walls. Exactly. So simple things like that, but we have to try. We have to make mistakes. But you need to think outside the box. It's like, what's the challenge that I have in front of me? Which tools I have under my sleeve that I can take out now that's going to help me with this challenge that I have now, right? What's not acceptable to me, and again, everything I'm saying is to me. What's not acceptable to me is like, oh, this is what it is. Now, you're a photographer. You're creative. You create things from there's nothing. The moment you say, "Oh, this is what it is," you're done. You're done. Can't do that. Can't do that. You got to keep pushing. You got to get better. You get to keep pushing every single time. Every time you go out there, you got to do something fun. You got to do something different. You got to do something that is powerful. That's going to generate that emotion, because this is all about emotion.
I
That's
love it, man. I love it. I mean, it's like I'm getting fired up just from this conversation. Like, man, do I want to? I don't want to go to bed now. I want to go grab the camera. I just want to go try some stuff. I'm like grab an orange. But I'm looking at the time. You've given me 45 minutes, which I appreciate your time so much. Being so giving during this conversation. I want to end it with what's next for Clay? What's coming up down the pipeline? What do you have in store for you? What's good? What can we get excited about?
Well, I've been focusing a lot on speaking engagements, right? So this year I'm going to be at Shutter Fest, which is in 2 weeks, right? About 2 weeks.
Yep.
So we have last year. I shot way too much, and I said this year to Danny, let's not schedule stuff. And I was looking at the calendar; it's just crazy, as crazy as last year. For you to have an
Mm.
idea, last year I went to bed every day at 3 a.m. Every single day
Mm.
at 3 a.m. Right? So Shutter Fest this year, and then in August, September, sometime in the fall, I guess I'm gonna be in Minnesota speaking with the PPA chapter over there. We're gonna do a
Okay.
6 hour class on posing and lighting, and then I come back to North Carolina and I go to the East Coast to talk at the Professional Photography of North Carolina, and that's going to be lighting and posing. That's a whole day workshop that I'm going to teach there. So I'm trying to get more into the speaking scenario. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work or not, and it's fine if it doesn't. But I'm trying. I'm trying. There are some companies that have approached me for sponsorship and ambassadorship, which is always humbling. I honestly, it may sound like cliche or sound a bunch of BS. I I'm humbled by when people sign up for my classes. I mean, Shutter Fest is a big event. There's like 80 instructors, I guess, like over 300 classes. People sign up for my classes. I feel like, what? We do the sunrise shooting, right? So which
Yep.
St. Louis, Missouri, 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning in April. It's freezing. And I look back, we have like 15, 20, 30 people behind me. I look back, you guys are crazy. I would not leave my bedroom to be here shooting this stuff. To me, this is what drives me. This is what drives me. I've always fed off other people's energy, right? And
Same way with that. I mean, look, I very much have gotten up at the 5 o'clock in the morning to shoot with you,
yeah, you
and I always say, being able to work with you and learn from you, it's an opportunity. So I always say, you take it as humbleness, but to me, I feel like it's well deserved because you put in the work
thank you.
and to become such a powerhouse. And like I said, I've always heralded you as one of the best lighting photographers that I know in the game right now.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. So it's, to me, it's like it's what Shutterfest is a big. Every conference that we go to when we're teaching, it's a big. It energizes me for the next 6 months. I come from Shutterfest, I come like, ooh, let's get things done, and I get a lot of stuff done because I'm energized, because I'm feeding off people's energy, right? The conversations before, the conversations during, conversation after. This is what gets me going. To me, this happiness that I have when I'm on that environment, when I'm shooting a wedding, when I see people happy, when this is what I measure success to me. Because you know the society today, we're so focused on I want this, like material things, right? We want big houses, we want big 2 3 big cars, we want this, we want that. To me, what success to me is to be able to have a business that affords me to travel whenever I want to, wherever I want to go, have a happy wife at home, and come and keep shooting those weddings, because there are two moments that families get together. One is weddings, another one is funeral, right? That's when you see everybody together.
Very
Uh,
true.
and weddings are so happy, happy days. All the everybody's happy. They're celebrating somebody. To me, that is. It blows my mind that we get paid to do what we do. It blows my mind that I have followers. It blows my mind that people pick my classes to go to among so many great classes. It should blow my mind. It should this year should like wow, yeah. This is
Nice, man.
classes to me, yeah.
No, I mean, you know what? There's nothing really more to like, caveat. I want to, end that on such a high note. And like I said, I get to see you in a few weeks, so it's going to be an absolute blast. I know we got a lot of things planned on the pipeline. I'm actually taking a page out of your book and setting up some night shoots for myself, and going to get real creative and challenge myself and push myself to the limits and try some new things that not just go to the same train tracks and do the same poses, but try the lighting, try different lighting scenarios and try different poses and try to use the wide angle lens a lot more instead of using the 2870. And I'm even considering going back to just shooting all primes again. I got, again, when we talk about being complacent and taking it easy, getting on back on about 2870 has become such a workhorse, but I feel like I've misused it. Let me go back to shooting it at 2.0 and keeping it at 70 and, making it kind of like act as a prime in a way, or going back to using just a 50 again. But so, you got the wheels in my brain spinning on that. So I'm excited about that. And so where can they find you on social media?
All right. So social media, got a couple here. Instagram is a big for us, big thing for us. So we have two Instagram profiles. One is, if you want to see nice pictures, is photos by Clay NC, as in North Carolina. Photos by Clay NC. And I also have one that I teach photography. It's free. I'm not that selling anything. It's called Clay Souza Official, and Souza is S as in Sam, OUZA. So Clay Souza Official is our Instagram. My Facebook is a little bit messed up because when I create this Clay Souza, I changed the name of my Facebook, thinking that I could change back later on, and I cannot. So Facebook is facebook.com/Clay Souza Official. So it's the same name as my education when I wanted to go to the other or whatever. That's what it is. So that's where you are. And yeah, websites photosbyclay.com. Just if you guys have any questions, anything, and just write us, just send us a DM, and we're ready to answer them. Anything to help.
All right, perfect. And I'll go ahead and in the show notes I'll plug all your information so people can find you and everything.
Yeah.
And thank you so much again for your time, man. Thank you for the conversation, and can't wait to see you in a few weeks.
Likewise, brother. So before you finish, I just want to congratulate you on a great job you're doing with the podcast. I've watched.
Thank you.
And they're very nice, very good, like frank, open conversations. I love it. Nothing here gets prompted before. He's asking questions as we go. So it's a little bit. I'm here in the end, like, okay, what's going to come next? So, but it's great job. You're doing an amazing job. Keep doing the good work, brother. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. So
yeah, and the next time and I know I'm going to get you on the show again because we could talk about just lighting, posing, and composition all day. The next time we get you though, I'm going to have to urge we got to get Danny next to you so we can just get her out there.
I will.
She's gonna kill me. But again, that's what makes me the maniacal little brother. So you know what, I'm gonna have fun with it. But yeah.
Are you going to do something from Shutter Fest for your podcast?
I'm considering it. A lot of people have approached saying I should do a live episode. A lot of people are saying I should do a live show with sound. I have the capabilities. I was doing the research and studying how to do it, so I know how to set it up to do a live show or even a live stream.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to logistics and timing. It's easy to say, yeah, I'm going to do this, and then now I got to get the people to show up and do that. And then again, I'm still trying to accept the position I'm at. It's like, if I do this, will people show up? Because I do have the vision of getting like 3 people on the stage. We do a live broadcast and have an audience, and then just do like a live Q&A and make that an episode. Like, I have so many ideas of what I want to do with it. Because it's so close to Shutterfest, I don't want to ask for a platform to do that. I'm more so, thinking about maybe just grabbing a camera and then just miking up and then just doing impromptu stuff right there. And then we create episodes off of that as well. So there's a lot of different things that I can take with it. I haven't really decided how I'm going to do. I am going to backlog a few episodes during Shutterfest. And then I may just do something in one of the rooms and just grab some people and say, hey, let's do a 15-minute conversation. But, you know, like I said, shop top, when I first came up, these shop tops were where I learned the most from. And, you know, having just hearing people talk and, you know, talk about what we love doing, being behind the camera and the different, you know, mentality behind each camera.
Well, there's no shortage of material at Shutter Fest, right? So you can walk all
Yep,
night long. You can find people shooting all night long, right? Uh,
exactly.
I'll grab the phone, just do a Instagram live and crash people's shoot and talk to people. I think it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
We're gonna bring some.
definitely.
Yeah,
I'm trying to build more content. I'm getting used to, like, again, I spent so many years being anti social media. Like, I just did enough to do enough. Now it's like I'm embracing it, that this is a part of the industry. This is a part of my growth, and, you know, being out there and just getting used to it and accepting this is a part of my life now. So
yeah.
I'm having fun with it, and I've accepted it, and, you know,
No,
I'm growing from there. You know, it's
you're
getting me
doing,
out of my own shell.
you're doing amazing. Keep up the good work, brother. You're doing
All
amazing.
right. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. All
Take care.
right. Take it easy. That's it for this week's show. Again, thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with others. Leave those reviews and check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until then, see you next week.